Hey everybody, one of the episode of On the Paint Table is my weekly show where you see what I got done, what I'm working on, and what is coming up. So it was a busy week building and painting. You probably, if you're following me on social media, saw that I did a lot of like 3D printing this week. I actually didn't take my daughter's Barbie accessories that I 3D printed and painted this week for On the Paint Table. I probably should have. I'll have them come up here in the just as like a photo overlay for a second. You want to check them out. But I printed a ton of stuff from Austin from Death Ray Designs, his cool new 6mm solar shift line. I printed some more great Knucklebones minis and painted them up for Sludge. And I painted a whole new kill team, which is actually the start of a new 40k army for me, which is my Grey Knights, and then also worked on my Blood Bowl treatment that Penny Mauser sent me. Huge thanks again for that. To finish off my Old World lines to play some Blood Bowl 7s. So I was all over the place this week. I was writing, I was building and painting miniatures, and I recorded a ton. So you can see what I got done. It was a pretty big week, 8, 12, 19 miniatures, almost 20 if I'd finished Acorn, which I didn't, and then lots of stuff coming up. So take a look what I got done and what's coming up in the future. So first things first, Monday and Tuesday, I learned how to use my 3D printer pretty good and was working on some very cool stuff from Austin. It's available from retail, so if you don't have a 3D printer, it's actually just available from retail right now, so you can get it on the DRD site. And some local retailers, I think, in the US are carrying it as well. But I painted up two little forces here for some stuff, some 6mm combat stuff I've been noodling on. You'll probably, if you're one of my patrons, you can expect to see a draft of it probably this weekend, maybe Monday. I'm going to keep hammering away on it and try and get something playable done. But more of that in the future anyway. These were all printed on my Elegoo Mars 2 Pro. Based on just some MDF 1.5 inch hex spaces I had. And I'm going to use these for a variety of things, but also to try out the custom mech rules for Battletech, which is what the part of the intention is for, so you can make your own mechs with their own cool arms and stuff like that. Painted two forces. The reds are, actually, if you saw my Nomads last week, I just had that paint set on the table still, and I just started from there. I was like, I'll just use the same reds. So it's a bunch of Vallejo reds. I think it's burnt red and hull red as the base tone. I used some gray, the same gray that was in the box, literally the same stuff that's in the Nomad paint set. And then GW Metallics, that's, I'm sorry, some Scale 75, that's black metal from Scale 75. A bit of Null Oil gloss, just on the metallics and the recesses and stuff there, and then brought back up with that Nomad Pure Red and the Fiery Orange, I think, for the edges and stuff like that. But very cool, it's a light one, kind of like a double guns, almost like Unseen style rifleman sort of type. And this little kind of, I don't know, what do we call this, like the Chicken Hawk? Something like that. And then this one's my favorite because it has kind of a Metal Gear feel to it. I like the like cockpit style a lot on it. I did some streaking and stuff for the missiles, and I just wanted to do like a weird camo. Like I did like a weird kind of like jagged camo, kind of like Martian style. And then this one I did more traditionally. This is actually done with mostly contrast paints. They're primed with Vallejo just sandable gray primer, and I hit this with Nazdrag yellow. Put some Castellan green on for camo and stuff like that beforehand, or actually afterwards, and then highlighted, I think, with Lauren green. Same metallics as on these guys. And then, of course, the canopies are done with black up to... You just went back in with black after the metallics and put them up through that same red, actually. That's the pure red. But I'm really happy with them. I wanted them to not be like... I was going to do them blue, and I was like, no, I'm not doing red versus blue. I'll do, like, yellow or something like that. I have them both in, like, a weird camo. The bases are all done with, the Astrogranite, but not the debris one, just the regular Astrogranite. And then I wash a little bit of burnt umber in the middle there to give the shadow between the legs. And then dry brush the edges with that same gray that came in that Nomad paint set. I think it's just like an ash gray. And there it is, some I painted up some of the sweet new Knucklebone stuff. We got this cool goat sorcerer. I'm going to call him Black Phillip, because if you have seen that great movie, The Witch, it's all about a goat that drives a bunch of people crazy. And then we have actual Black Phillip hanging out with new captain. So I need to have a second leader stand for my basic infantry, my core infantry. So I can split my 5 stands into 3, and my army's legal again. And then 2 more shock troops. From the Turnip Troopers, which are, again, Knucklebone minis that I printed and painted. Very nice miniatures, super fun to paint. And that brings my Sludge army up to 300 points. I have a Wizard. It's another 10, 20-point command stand. And then another, so I think 40 points for a Wizard. That's 40, 60, 70 more points. And I started my Grey Knight project, so I've got this is my first actual strike. What I did was I painted a test model, because I always paint a test model. So these are all just the Grey Knight steel through my airbrush, and then a bit of the Imperial Hobbies like bright silver, Psycho Track silver, something like that, as like a zenithal to highlight it. Don't remember them. It's GW metallics for everything else. There's actually no blending on this. I was like, I want a quick way to paint this. So it's snakebite leather, whatever that current, maybe XV88, I think is what it's called. And then something dust. And then bleach bone, screaming skull, I think, for the books and stuff. I cheated them for one thing. I used Vallejo Hull Red for the reds on that, and then highlighted it with Bugman's Glow, because I like to use skin tones to highlight my reds, but I want them to be kind of auburn. And then it was black through two different GW blues. I don't even remember the names anymore. I'm so bad at that. The bases I want to do different for my ultramarines, and a warm color to have the cool colors of the knights pop off of. So that burnt red again, or hull red rather, dry brushed with the Xandri Dust, I think it is, and then bleach bone, screaming skull. Bit of washes on that afterwards. I actually didn't use a standard wash. I used Gilliman Flesh to keep the red hue in there, and that kind of finished them up. But I'm very happy because I wanted them to match the kill team tiles, and I'm pretty happy with the result. So they have that same sort of like red and beige. So that was the test model, and then I painted a 5-man squad. I've got the other 4 guys to go with him afterwards. Weird that I did it that way, but I wanted to have options for kill team, which meant that I wanted to be able to swap in and out the side cannon if I could. And then that's the first troop choice basically done. So Demon Hammer, 3 halberds, and a side cannon. And I'm going to have 3 squads like this probably for my troop choices. Sweet Treeman, Penny Mouse sent me a big thanks to them again. And found their local game store because I couldn't find one for sale anywhere. And this was done, I think, with the same sandable gray Vallejo airbrush primer, and then a bit of the beige from Imperial Hobbies over top of it, just to give it kind of a zenithal highlight. And then mostly done with contrast paints. The leaves are all done with, I think, Orc Flesh as a base. I highlighted with some Scale 75 Emerald, and then I used Aegaros Dunes for sort of like the tendrils and stuff that keep them together, all the thorny bits. And then just highlights and stuff afterwards. Great miniature. I like that it's like a young treatment. You know, it's like an adolescent treatment. They're all cool and want to go out and fight and play Blood Bowl, and they're not like all sort of like stuck in their ways like those old boomer treatment are. Finished Acorn too, didn't quite get it done. It's a super cool star player. Normally it kind of sits in the branches, but as a separate star player, I couldn't help but not want to use it if I had the option. And it's throwing an acorn like a ball. Then this is the rest of the squads for that lone Grey Knight needs his friends. He's got his side cannon, his Justicar, and then 2 more halberds there to finish off. Coming up, I need a heavy support choice in HQ. So Caldor Drago I discovered I had in the box somewhere. I do need to find the 40 mil bases that match the Sector Imperial, so I don't have any, and I think there's actually like an accessory kit for making the big bases match those too. So I'm not 100% sure I'm going to do that. I don't know if they're still for sale. They keep going in and out of sale, so I'm going to have to try and find one. And then for these guy, again, I'll just try and get some of those base details. I do want to have a Grandmaster, but I figure I'd start with the middle model, get him painted. Do the Grandmaster last, probably, after I do my first 2, because I want to build and paint like a regular Nemesis Grey Knight first, just to see what the actual like best way of doing it is. And that gives me a playable force. I'll have 2 troops, an HQ, and a heavy support, so I can play a patrol game. Buddy Chase managed to find a demo fig of an intercessor, so that little 3-man intercessor squad from Doomsday Countdown can now be 4-man. I need to see one more Marine that's a legit intercessor squad, which I'm excited. And then here is some of that solar shift stuff not painted up yet. There's one of the, just to give you an example, there's another light, and what I'm using is a heavy mech, sort of like in the sort of like pre-painted stage. And then some of the infantry I also have, and some trucks I'm gonna use for objective markers. And then last but not least, big thanks to Jordan. He had an old Mobile Brigada for me to strip so I can have a lieutenant choice for my Nomads, which you saw play their first game yesterday. That isn't incredibly obvious because there's only 3 models in the entire list that can be the lieutenant. Infinitely killable, and cost me an extra SWC. The Aguasil Lieutenant is the worst. He basically drops your SWC limit to 5 because he costs you 1. He's only 10 points, but he's just like, he has a big kill me sticker all over him. So by having a cool multi-rifle Mobile Brigada, I can have a slightly more durable lieutenant, and that gives me some options for my NCO and stuff too. I can get my Wildcat painted, which is the last model from the Beyond box. To finish up, I also want to paint my other Vostok. And my Senior Massacre. That's gonna be my variant list. And then it's maybe get some geckos so I can have the double gecko, double Vostok, where every gecko has a Vostok and every Vostok has a gecko, and they just go around the table murdering things. So we got another week, another 19 models painted, tons of projects on the go as usual, and lots more coming next week. So big thanks for watching. We'll see you for what gets done next Saturday. Till then, I'm Ash. Happy Organic. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look through the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My 2 kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continuing to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Death Ray Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.